Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Jeffery Combs, President and Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Welcome to 2 for Tuesday. It's good to be here with you this afternoon. A lot going on in the world. It is my privilege and pleasure to be here with you on a beautiful Tuesday as we move into summer. The week before Memorial Weekend, it's always inspiring times in the United States, time of freedom, whatever that means to you in today's world, in a very, very challenging world, as we are doing our best to be our best in a relaxed body. It's my honor to be here on 2 for Tuesday. Heather Vaughan, good to have you here. Heather, so good to see you, Heather. Heather V, how are you, my girl? My South Carolina homegirl, good to connect with you. Heather, I'm doing a 2-day event in Stockton, California. I would love to see all of you. But on July 15th and 16th, I will be hosting Millionaire Blueprint. That is my first speaking event in 2 years. Are you listening to me, Avery? Avery, good to see you this afternoon. Jeffrey Feldman, good to see you. Heather, I cannot wait to speak to you also. Mr. Scott Lucas, how are you this afternoon? Millionaire Blueprint, 2 more tickets were sold this morning. 8 tickets sold. I'm looking for 20 to 40 people. I'll round that off. I believe around 30. I'm just starting to put together the speakers for the event. It will unequivocally be game-changing. You can take that to the bank. So as people begin to show up here this afternoon, Carl Mason, how are you, my brother? Carl, good to see you. Lisa Schindler. Let's everyone say hello to Lisa. Lisa is my longtime client from Sydney, Australia. Lisa is an exceptional woman, owns a beautiful sailboat, her and her husband. Lisa is also a restaurant owner and an exceptional host when it comes to hosting. Good afternoon, everyone. Lisa, so good to see you. And I'm coaching Lisa this afternoon. I coached Lisa right after this call. I coached Lisa in Sydney, Australia, immediately after this call every other Tuesday. So good to see you all. Cheryl Yeager, good to see you this afternoon. Let's move it into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. Just so you know, this is what I do. I write a little syllabus. This is how I do the Tuesday call. I've been doing this for 23 plus years. So this used to be a live conference call at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time with as many as 500 to I maxed out once upon a time with over 1,000 people on the More Heart Than Talent Mindset call. I had Jim Rohn on there twice. I had Dr. Joe Dispenza on there twice. I had multiple speakers on that call back in the day. Brian Tracy was on that call. I mean, John Asraf was on the call a few times. Susan Sly, many exceptional people. Dr. Judith Orloff. I've interviewed hundreds of multimillionaires, authors, quantum healers, and a multitude of people. Barbara Williams has just joined us today. Barbara is one of my longest-term clients in the history of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. So on July 14th and 15th, I will be bringing together some of the best speakers I've ever had in my circle of influence. And I started this Facebook Live in 2018. Prior to that, it was a live conference call that would have as many as 1,000 people on it. Now, Facebook Live is a different experience, and I'm going to cover a topic today that's very dear to me, that I put into practical application every single day. And then I'm going to show you the very tool that I began using that changed my language. So words are law. Here's where this started for me with this little book right here, The Game of Life and How to Play It. This is the third book that I've bought of hers. This is the third version of this book because I have broken the spine where the pages fall out. I used that book so many times from 1991 through 1998 in the integral part of my transformation. And I was building a business in Dallas, Texas twice while maintaining a small apartment in Stockton, California. And there was a metaphysical bookstore called Overtones on 75th and Arapahoe in North Dallas that I used to go frequently, and I also bought a pack of affirmation cards there from this very book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. Now, the chapter that had the biggest impact on me was this chapter right here. It says, The power of word. Right there it is, the power of word. And so right here in here, it says, a person knowing the power of the word becomes very careful of his conversation. So, I started to be attentive to that. The power of word. In that content, it said, words do not return void, meaning that what a man speaketh, a man createth. What a woman speaks, a woman creates. I coached a woman today, a truther patriot, today on this, on the sounds, I had her spell it out. UGH-HUGH. What does it mean? It does not mean yes. It is two sounds that America uses in slang, assuming that it means yes, which it does not. And many people use those sounds as filler. And then there are other derivatives of words, kinda, Kinda. Those of you who have coached with me over a number of years, how many of you begin to understand how the American, Canadian, Australian, English-speaking language, most of the world speaks in doubt? Yeah, okay, sure. And then the kinda. Americans put kinda, Kinda, a derivative of two words, kind of, that mean nothing. Americans also enter the word guess in the middle of a sentence, which once guess is moved into the sentence, what it means is I doubt. So the more you understand the power of word, the persuasion of word, how to assist people to decide, to commit, you do this by asking. I coach one of my clients today on the value of learning how to close sales. And then he said that if they don't buy from me on that one presentation, they don't buy from me. He's an insurance professional, and that's a one and done close, just like a lot of mine is. The fortune is not in the follow-up in that specific style of closing. However, you do follow up in certain styles of coaching. That's for you to determine how closing goes for you. But in closing, asking the questions in a sequence, using words of persuasion, asking words of commitment, trial closing. This is all very important when you're in that process of communication, so that small talk, fact finding, and rapport building. Then this book, I bought this book later in my career. This book was written in 1925. This book was written in 1940. Now, Florence Scovel Shinn, she, through the power of association, her friends were Emmett Fox, and Orson Marsden Swett. These were two truthers and patriots and people of influence and affluence who were metaphysical thinkers, Christians back in the day at the turn of the century. And one of them was responsible for the magazine Success. The original Success magazine comes from Orson Marsden Swett. I have two of his books from back in the day. Ralph Waldo Trine, who wrote the book In Tune with the Infinite in 1908. I have a paperback version and a first edition version of that book, In Tune with the Infinite, which in tune with the infinite means consciousness. And then in 1937, Napoleon Hill writes Mastermind Alliance. He also writes Mastermind Alliance. And he also, what he's referring to is consciousness, attracting to reality, people of like consciousness, people you can collaborate with, be in business with, people you can create results with, people that you can create camaraderie with, people of influence, affluence, truthers, patriots, people you're in alignment with, people you can be in business with, people who believe what you believe. Now, if you're communicating from a mixed message and you're telepathically in anxiety, fear, and doubt, if you're in a trauma bond, panic patterns, hypervigilance, brain fog, if you're in this energy, you're going to attract your reality, people and situations to fulfill your feelings. If you're confused, overwhelmed, I just taught a young man right before this call how to breathe. A longer breath cycle allows you to start letting go of the brain fog. You bring the breath up to the back of your mouth. You breathe and release. The affirmation, these are words. The affirmation I was teaching with him were breathe, release, and let go. I had him write it on a Post-it with a Sharpie, a yellow Post-it, just like this. And so I have people do this frequently. I have them write this down. It looks just like this. So see that? Kinda. And then I have them put this right there, because now you have a reference point what to let go of. This is how you change a behavior. You change a behavior with a breath cycle. You change a behavior with words. The power of word. People go, what do I substitute it with? Words. You substitute it with energy. You're not replacing something, you're letting go. You don't fill a hole with another hole. You let go of the hole you're holding on to, and it creates its own new space. And that space is called consciousness. When you're seeking to learn how to attract, attraction is a skill. Now, once again, for those of you who are my coaching clients, on July 15th and 16th, I'm going to host my inaugural Millionaire Blueprint. It'll be a 2-day event specifically designed for you to understand the mechanics of letting go. I'm going to stand in front of a room of 20 people for 2 days, and I'm going to go over this content. I'm going to go over trauma bonds, panic patterns, and the skill of letting go. And if I'm going to have a specialist there on breathing. I'm going to have a specialist there on meditation and how to silence the inner critic, how to let go. And this whole event is going to be specifically on how to let go, transcend consciousness, create word choices that are empowering, how to speak into existence reality you're manifesting. It's going to be a manifest event. And there's going to be multiple people there that I've coached for multiple years that I've been in alignment with. So the consciousness in the room will calibrate in the 500s because I'm there, you're there. And so if I'm there, you're there, and we're there, now we're raising the vibration of the room. And our word choices will be words of empowerment. It will be words of attraction. We will begin attracting to our reality. That's what manifesting is. But manifesting comes from a belief that you're good enough, lovable, and capable. But when you're in a mixed message, uncertain, this is why we say words like this. Like kinda, Kinda. It is not a word. It's a derivative of two words that mean nothing. So the word thing, this thing I'm in, no, it's not a thing. It's your enterprise. I used to teach my team. Roxanne, good to see you this afternoon. Roxanne, I appreciate your content. Aaron, love having you on this call. Tracy, always awesome to have you here. So when you begin to understand the power of word, words do not return void. Words, the power of the spoken word. Words are law. So what you speak into existence becomes your reality. So when you're worried, you're actually attracting to your reality other like-minded warriors to fulfill your feelings of disappointment, of the payoff. I spent a half an hour with someone today explaining to them what a payoff means and why addicts get absolutely pissed off at me because I'm attempting to point out to them what the payoff means. And so when in my early career, I used to have my team practice these two words, my enterprise. And we would use our hands so it would create ownership. We would say, my enterprise. And when I was doing team trainings in Dallas, Texas, with a room of 20, 25, 40 people, we would start off at a low vibration. We'd go, my enterprise. And then we'd take it to a crescendo till we were eventually screaming, my enterprise. And we actually had complaints from the neighbors down in the hall. Oh my God, these people are crazy. What is with these people? But we didn't care. We got evicted, and I found a better location anyway. But we used to actually speak that into existence. Just practice it right now. My enterprise. Use your hands, and then the inflection, enterprise. And then other words that I would teach my team is absolutely. Now, I have a degree in radio, television, and speech communications. That is an advantage to me. I learned the glottals, diphthongs, and triphthongs of the tongue. I almost became a speech pathologist, but I went forward in radio and television. I was an on-air personality on radio and TV later. I wrote television advertisements. I wrote radio advertisements. I made commercials, cut commercials. And when I was 21 years old, had a piece, I never even tell people this, but I had a piece that made it to National Public Radio, NPR. I was a DJ in nightclubs. I spun disc. I became very good at that whole situation. I also was a classical music disc jockey on a classical music station. I had to go through just special training to enunciate the name of the artists that were German, Swiss, and other countries. So I had to learn all that. I also became skilled at ripping the UPI wire, the AP wire, writing newscasts and writing news content. So public speaking became a way of life for me. So it's an understanding. So when I decided to become a speaker, I had a lot of experience in front of a television cameras in situations like this. So when I started standing in front of a whiteboard with Herbalife in 1990, I was fucking crushing it from the minute I stepped in the room, because I understood the word, and this is a word that you want to start to have in your vocabulary: command. Many people try and control the outcome rather than having a command of your emotions. A command of your emotions is the toggle switch. It's your hand on the gear shift so that you can move from third gear to fifth gear to fourth gear. Now, if you know anything about 3 on the tree, a 3 speed on the column, it's up like this. It's up and out. That's reverse. And then down here is second, and up here is third. A 3 on the column. Hind has just joined us today from Dubai. Everyone say hello to Hind. Hind has been my client for 3 years, consistently rehires me on Mondays, 5 a.m. She is there, and Hind is a closer. I mean, she can close on command, and she didn't start out that way, so it's amazing. Barbara Williams is a closer. Say this: I am a closer. So inflection, it's important you use inflection, and when you're using inflection, it's in the back of your throat and the diaphragm at the same time. But when you're speaking, it's in the back of the throat from trauma bonds and panic patterns, and you're in fight or flight and brain fog. There's no energy. So people buy your energy, and it's that juice. It's that edge that Barbara Williams hired me for back in 1996. She was, Jeffrey, I love you. Barbara used to say that to me. So and Desiree is just joined us, who is a closer. So you use your hands when you say it. I am a closer. And it's important you believe that, because when you believe it, you're going to attract people who believe what you believe. When you believe that you're good enough, you'll attract other people who believe they're good enough in a higher law of frequency. So in life is the law of averages, the law of averages. And as you begin to understand that the law of the few, so it's your responsibility to be able to attract your reality, the law of the few. So the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule written by the author Koch, K-O-C-H, breaks down to this: the law of the few. And so if 20% of 20 breaks down to about 4 or 5%. And so there's about 4 or 5% of the population who will do what you do. And when you become really skilled at this, your law of averages in the law of the few goes up. So if you're going to be a self-made millionaire in free enterprise, the equation breaks down to 1/20th of 1. So in fractional ownership, it's 1/20 of 1. I'll write it out for you, just so you see the power of words. 1/20 of 1. So that's it right there. 1/20 of 1. That's what the law of the few is when it comes to millionaires in this world. That means the law of the few. So that means in Malcolm Gladwell's content that you are an outlier. And it's going to be your responsibility to accept that. It's going to be your responsibility to say, I'm exceptional. I am the exception to the rule. And not only do you say that, you believe that. But you must be able to say that without feeling selfish. But if you get into this space in your head, well, who am I to believe? Well, you're you. That's who you are. Don't forget that. You're you. You're brilliant. You're exceptional. But your parents didn't tell you that. Most of them told you you weren't good enough. Many of your parents traumatized you. Some of you had great parents who inspired you. But if that wasn't you, then it's your responsibility to really step up in that energy and be that mentor for yourself that no one was before. So be that man and woman that you're capable of. Our country requires you. Look at this. See, we have been underestimated because women in our country are taking a stand now like never before. I'm so inspired to watch women become leaders in today's world. It has been amazing this last 3 years. I have seen warrior women, patriot women, absolutely come out of the cobwebs, the closet. They've stepped up. They've become teachers to their children. They're homeschooling their children, building businesses, becoming 5-figure monthly income earners, supporting their family, moving across the country, moving to places that are inspiring for them, moving where they can be self-sufficient. They're being that woman and that family and that man, and many people are absolutely, this is why it's inspiring times. Now the ego will say, oh my God, it's scary. This is overwhelming. Gas prices are going to go to $7 a gallon. Well, that's true, but that means you have to outproduce your fucking problems. I mean, it really is up to you, baby. It's like you got to pony up. You got to cowgirl up. You got to be that man and woman that you've just held yourself back. And it doesn't matter whether you're 52 or 62 or 22. What matters is in the law of matter that you matter. My man Mike Green's out there in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, selling real estate today. And I will bet you Mike closed a sale today. Ted, are you closing a sale today? Ted, are you closing? Ted, are you a closer? Ted, my brother, I am talking to you, baby. Ted Hannick is a closer. Ted closes. Ted knows how to close. And so that's part of the affirmation that you bring to life. I am a closer. It means I'm a finisher. I finish projects I start. I spoke to Bryce Thompson today and Jesse Moran. They just started a business down in Cave Creek, Arizona. Their brothers, Josh Moran. That's the Iceman that you see. These are my clients. They're finishing a project that a contractor abandoned them on. That's what a finisher does. A finisher finishes projects. My wife and I finished project in our house when our contractor didn't show up. I would go over after I would finish coaching all day and after a Facebook Live, and I would go over to our new house and I would clean all the dust and all the shit up that the contractors would walk away from because they're not finishers. They were posers. They aren't closers. They were half-assed at best. Dylan Albertson, my wife, myself, and another assistant of mine, named Mike, we finished a lot of projects that other contractors half-assed. Why? Because we're detail people, because we care, because we're finishers, because I had a vision of the outcome before I started that I was not going to be denied from. And it didn't matter to me who I fired, who I hired. I was not attached to them. I was attached to the outcome. And said I wanted that outcome to look, but I wasn't attached. I was non-attached to them. I had a clear vision. My word was the law that when this house was done, it would be stellar. That's another word. Stellar, absolutely, unequivocally. Yes, these are closer. My enterprise. I mean, look at the inflection, the facial features it takes to do that. You can feel that edge in people. Those are the people you seek to follow. The people that have the edge, that can stand the gaff, that aren't afraid of tyranny, that say, bring it on, chief. I will not be denied. Thank you, Scott Lucas. And so just say that I will not be denied. See, like right now, I am sweating my ass off. And the reason being is because I'm transmuting. I'm not sweating because I'm hot. I'm sweating because I care. I'm sweating because I'm transmuting. That transmutational energy that comes out of you, that is sweat. That is the vile energy that you've been holding on to. That is the trauma bond. When you sweat from being inspired, that means that people begin to feel you. And sometimes you have to just kick your ass up between your head and pull it out of your ass, wash yourself off, and step into free enterprise because you will not be denied. I mean, it's sometimes you have to really look at yourself, and most people don't want to do that. They don't want to look at themselves because they don't want to let go of their trauma bonds, panty patterns, and most importantly, their character defects. In all 12 steps of recovery, if you can't do step 1 through 6, well, you can't do the next 6 steps. Because step 1 through 6 ask you to take an inventory of yourself. Step 1 through 6 ask you to make amends to people you've hurt. In step 1 through 6, you write letters to people that have either traumatized you or you've been in challenging experiences with them. That's what letting go is. And for you to be able to live your dreams, you have to let go of the anxiety, fear, and doubt you hold on to. It's going to be your responsibility to be your best man and woman. Barbara just said character defects are a challenge to look at. Yes, they are. But once you let go of the challenge and move into really being honest with yourself, then those character defects begin to fall away, which elevates your consciousness. And if you've been holding on to weight and debt and other situations, it's amazing what happens to the debt and the weight that you hold on to. And the stories you hold on to as they begin to drop away. Pounds go with them. If you start to make payments that didn't look so difficult anymore, you start to clean up your life. You start to let go of all the stuff that's in your garage. You let go of the toys and other junk you've held on to. You let go of the games that you held on to from the 80s. You let go of the tires that are still in your garage. You let go of a lot of the feelings that you stuff and hold on to. And you really step into your power. And you are no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. Now, here's a couple other affirmations in law of word. You tell yourself, I can't go out like this. So if you're in your 50s, you're 45, or you're 60, and you're looking at your life and you have no assets, you have minimal friends, you're living in an apartment, you got to look around and in rigorous honesty say, I can't go out like this. I will not have this on my epitaph. Died with my music inside me. Died the greatest pain, the pain of regret. I will not go out like this. I mean, you start telling yourself, because you can't. You just cannot. You have too much character to let this be you. I am me and I am free. I mean, you start telling yourself this. I can't do this. I cannot live like this any longer. See, when you reach that threshold, you have crossed the bridge of where the pain is great enough. Because you just can't do it anymore. It means you can't be an addict anymore. Because the pleasure isn't worth the pain. And here's what's really inspiring once you cross over this bridge. Because what you thought was so difficult becomes much more easier. And then you can look back and go, oh my God, look how much energy I expended being an addict. I mean, how much energy you expend being overwhelmed is killing people. I mean, it's so overwhelming. But when you let go of being overwhelmed and you let go of these words, how do I? These are the 3 words that you want to let go. How do I? And you change that to these 2 words, I am. And then you let go of these 2 words, yeah, but. I mean, yeah, but consciousness does not access yeah, but. Yeah, but takes you back to doubt. Anytime you say yeah, but, it's like you agree here and disagree here so you can be in a contradiction. That's the trauma bond. And when you separate your feelings from the events that shape them, you will be you and you will be free. We are now up to 8 tickets for Millionaire Blueprint. We are about 6 weeks out. So if you want a ticket to that event, you can go to my website or my Facebook page and you can reserve a ticket. 2-day event, Stockton, California, Millionaire Blueprint. When I have reached 30 tickets, I am cutting it off. So that will be it. I am me. I am free. You have an outstanding afternoon. Jeffery Combs, President, Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Good day, everyone.